The sky tore open without warning. It began as a shadow, a long line across the morning sky above New York. People stopped in the streets, craning their necks. At first, they thought it was clouds. But clouds did not move like this, steady, wide, and stretching across the horizon like a wall. Within minutes, cameras turned upward, capturing a sight that froze the world. Ships. Alien ships. They were massive, black, and silent, blotting out the sun. Their undersides glowed with a strange, blue light, as if oceans were trapped inside them. One ship hovered above New York. Another appeared over London. A third over Tokyo. And above the clouds, satellites detected hundreds more circling the planet. The world had never seen anything like it. Traffic stopped. Cell phones shook in people's hands. Children cried as parents pulled them close. The hum of the alien ships was so deep it rattled windows. It felt less like sound and more like pressure inside the bones. News anchors stammered live on television, voices cracking. Some called it an invasion. Others begged people to stay calm. But calm was impossible. For 7 long minutes, the ships did nothing. They simply hovered, casting shadows over entire cities. 7 minutes of silence that stretched into forever. People whispered that maybe the world had ended and no one had told them. Then the voice came. It was not human. It was not one voice, but many, deep, layered, and echoing inside every device, every speaker, every human. Humans, we have come to test you, to see if you deserve your world. The words rolled through streets and homes, shaking glass and hearts alike. The message was clear. This was not a meeting. This was judgment. In New York, the alien ship's belly began to glow brighter. A column of light descended onto Times Square. The crowd screamed, some running, others frozen in awe. From the light stepped a figure. It was tall, easily 3 meters, its skin plated like armor, silver black and gleaming. Its eyes glowed with cold green light. Its face carried no expression, only the weight of superiority. In one hand, it carried a long spear that hummed with energy. The alien looked around at the humans gathered, tilting its head as if studying insects. Then, in perfect English, it spoke. "Who will fight me?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. No one moved. The alien's voice was calm, but there was menace in every syllable. Across the ocean, in London, another beam of light cut through the cloudy sky, striking Trafalgar Square. There, a second alien appeared, similar in form but carrying a blade that shimmered like liquid metal. In Tokyo, the third descended near Shinjuku, its presence towering over neon lights and skyscrapers. Everywhere, the message was the same. The aliens demanded combat. Government scrambled. In Washington, the president was rushed to a secure bunker. Military commanders shouted over each other in underground war rooms. Is it an invasion? Are these probes? Do we strike first? No one had answers. But in the streets, the question was simpler. Who will step forward? In New York, soldiers arrived within minutes, forming a barricade around the alien. Their rifles were raised, but their hands shook. The alien did not flinch. It stood, tall and patient, waiting. "Do not misunderstand," it said, its voice echoing through Times Square. "We do not come to kill all of you, only to see if you are worthy. One warrior may fight. One warrior may fall. Your fate depends on what we see." The crowd murmured in terror. Some begged the soldiers not to fight. Others shouted angrily at the alien. Finally, a Marine stepped forward. His uniform was dusty from training exercises nearby, his face pale but set with grim determination. He removed his helmet and dropped it to the ground. "I'll fight you," he said. His voice was quiet, but it carried. Cameras caught every second, broadcasting to the entire planet. The alien turned its glowing eyes toward him. It studied him the way a scientist might study an ant. Then it gave a slow nod. "Good," it said. The Marine's heart pounded, but he did not step back. The people around him, soldiers, civilians, journalists, watched in silence. For the first time, humanity's future rested on the shoulders of one man. At the same moment in London, a boxer who happened to be in the square clenched her fists, stepping forward. She was no soldier, no trained fighter for alien wars, but she had fought her whole life in rings and alleys. She refused to let strangers fight her battle for Earth. And in Tokyo, a kendo master walked calmly through the crowd, his wooden practice sword in hand. He had trained his students for discipline, not war, but now his path was clear. The aliens in each city tilted their heads, watching as humans volunteered. Above Earth, the fleet shifted uneasily. Inside the command vessels, alien leaders spoke in harsh tones. They stepped forward, one said, "They do not hide." Another hissed back, "It does not matter. They will break." But for the first time since their arrival, there was hesitation in their voices. Back on Earth, as night fell across half the world, billions sat glued to screens. Every eye was locked on 3 cities, 3 arenas, 3 chosen humans about to face something beyond imagination. Fear ran like fire through the veins of humankind. But somewhere beneath that fear, a spark had lit. The spark of defiance. The aliens thought they had come to test humans. But already, something was shifting. Already, the invaders were beginning to feel something they had never expected. A faint, unfamiliar tremor that crept into their alien minds. Something that almost felt like fear. The Marine stood in the center of Times Square, his chest rising and falling fast, but his eyes steady. Around him, the world held its breath. Helicopters circled high above, their spotlights cutting through the night. Cameras zoomed in, broadcasting his every move to billions. Across from him, the alien warrior planted its spear into the ground. The weapon pulsed with a low hum, sending tiny cracks through the concrete. The sound alone made onlookers shiver. "You are small," the alien said, voice rumbling like stone. "You are fragile. This will be short." The Marine tightened his fists. He had fought in deserts and jungles, trained against men twice his size. But nothing prepared him for this. Still, retreat never crossed his mind. "Let's get it over with," he said. The alien's head tilted, its glowing eyes narrowing. "You do not beg." Strange. Then it moved. The alien lunged forward faster than anyone expected. Its spear whistled through the air, aimed to crush. The Marine dove aside, the tip smashing into the ground where he had stood. Pavement shattered like glass, chunks flying into the crowd. Screams echoed, soldiers shouting for people to get back. The Marine rolled, came up on one knee, and fired his sidearm. The bullet struck the alien's plated chest, sparking like fireworks. The alien barely flinched. "Useless," it said, stepping forward. With one hand, it swatted the gun aside. The weapon clattered across the ground. The Marine braced for death. But instead of finishing him, the alien paused. It looked at him closely, as if curious. "You still stand," it said. Blood trickled from the Marine's lip. He spat red onto the pavement and raised his fists. "Damn right." For a moment, there was silence. Then, almost like a signal, the alien attacked again. The spear whirled, slicing the air. The Marine dodged once, twice, barely escaping its reach. He darted in, throwing a punch at the alien's abdomen. His knuckles cracked against armor, pain exploding in his hand. But he didn't stop. He struck again, and again, forcing the alien backward. Crowds roared from behind the barricades. The alien snarled, swinging its weapon in an arc. The shaft slammed into the Marine's ribs, sending him flying across the pavement. He landed hard, coughing blood. Cameras caught every second. Commentators on live news channels shouted over each other. "His down. Wait. No. His getting up." The Marine rose, swaying, his vision blurred. His ribs screamed in agony. But his legs moved anyway. Step by step, he closed the distance. The alien stared at him. For the first time, it did not strike immediately. Its spear lowered just slightly. "Why?" it asked. "Why do you rise? You cannot win." The Marine's breath rasped, but his voice was steady. "Because I'd rather die standing than live kneeling." Those words, carried through microphones and broadcast worldwide, struck deeper than any bullet. In living rooms, in shelters, in command centers, humanity felt something shift. The alien's eyes flickered, glowing less bright. For the first time, hesitation showed. Then the Marine did the impossible. He lunged forward, closing the gap before the alien could react. With every ounce of strength, he drove his elbow into the alien's midsection. A sharp crack followed, a sound not of breaking bone, but of denting armor. The alien staggered back a step, green liquid seeping from a small crack in its plating. Gasps erupted worldwide. "He hurt it," someone screamed in the crowd. "It can bleed." The alien looked down at the glowing green fluid dripping from its body. Its expression did not change, but its voice trembled almost imperceptibly. "Impossible." The Marine stood swaying, blood running down his face, his hands shaking. But there was fire in his eyes. "Not impossible. Human." Silence blanketed the square. Then, slowly, the alien raised its spear again. But its strikes were slower now, less sure. Its movements no longer carried pure confidence. Above Earth, aboard the alien command ships, voices rose in confusion. The human drew blood. How? No other species has ever done this. They should break, not stand. In London, the female boxer squared off with her alien challenger, her fists wrapped in nothing but cloth. She saw the broadcast on a giant screen nearby, the Marine bleeding, but still standing, the alien retreating a step. Her lips curled into a grin. In Tokyo, the kendo master tightened his grip on his wooden sword, watching the news flash across billboards. His eyes burned with calm fire. The spark had spread. Back in New York, the Marine wiped blood from his eyes. He whispered to himself, not caring if anyone heard, "If I fall, another will rise." The alien tilted its head. Its glowing eyes narrowed, but inside its chest something new pulsed. A feeling alien to its kind. A feeling that gnawed at its composure. Fear. The Marine took one more step forward. The crowd erupted, chanting, voices booming through the night. They were no longer terrified spectators. They were witnesses to defiance. The alien warrior, for the first time since landing, stepped back. The world saw it. The galaxy would never forget it. All across the planet, eyes were locked on 3 cities. The Marine in New York had stood against the impossible and struck first blood from an alien. The sight had jolted humanity awake. Fear was still there, thick, heavy, suffocating. But under it, something stronger was spreading. Defiance. In London, the alien challenger stood in the heart of Trafalgar Square. Its blade gleamed like liquid silver, dripping faint sparks of energy. Around it, soldiers held rifles, but none dared to fire. The alien raised its weapon high, calling out in the same booming voice that echoed across every loudspeaker. "Choose your warrior." The crowd pressed back, whispers of panic running like fire. But then, from the front row, a woman stepped forward. She was not dressed for battle. She wore a hooded sweatshirt, her hands wrapped in cloth tape. A professional boxer, she had been training nearby when the alien descended. Sweat still clung to her brow, her knuckles already bruised from the bag she had been pounding. She pulled down her hood, her face set with iron. "I'll fight you." Gasps broke through the crowd. Soldiers tried to hold her back. "This isn't you." But she shoved past them. "If it wants a fight, it's getting one. And it's getting it from me." The alien studied her, its blade shimmering in the pale light. "You are not a soldier. You are not armed." "I don't need a weapon," she said. "My fists are enough." The alien tilted its head, curious. Then it raised the blade. "Then come, show me this human strength." The fight began in a storm of motion. The alien swung with inhuman speed, the blade hissing through the air. The boxer ducked under it, her movements quick, honed by years in the ring. She countered with a flurry of punches, jab, cross, hook. Each landed against armor, ringing like steel on stone. Her fist split open, blood smearing the alien's chest. But she did not stop. Every hit was a statement, every strike a roar of defiance. The alien stepped back slightly, its voice rumbling with disbelief. "You fight though your bones will break." "Why?" She grinned through blooded teeth. "Because this is our world, and I'll break before I bow." The crowd erupted, voices thundering across the square. For the first time since the arrival, London roared not in fear, but in pride. In Tokyo, neon lights flickered across rain-slick streets as the third alien waited. Its armor shimmered darkly, its eyes glowing with the same cold green light. Crowds huddled under umbrellas, silent, terrified. Then an old man stepped forward. He wore a simple robe, his back straight despite his age. In his hands, he carried a wooden practice sword, polished smooth by decades of training. His students tried to hold him back, their voices breaking. "Sensei, you can't." But he only smiled gently, the calm of a lifetime etched into his face. "This is why I trained. Not for sport, not for show, for this moment." The alien stayed at him. "You carry no blade of steel." The master bowed. "A sword is not the weapon. The spirit behind it is." The alien growled low, lowering its stance. "Then show me your spirit, human." The fight was unlike the others. It was not a brawl, not chaos. It was discipline against power. The kendo master moved with precision, every step measured, every strike flowing into the next. The wooden sword cracked against alien armor again and again. Sparks flew where it landed. His movements were slow compared to the alien's speed, but every strike carried a rhythm that unsettled his opponent. The alien lashed out, blades slicing through the rain. The master parried with wood, sparks bursting in the night. Again and again, he deflected strikes that should have killed him. He did not falter, his face calm, eyes burning with resolve. "You fight without fear," the alien said, almost whispering. The master struck once more, the wood slamming against the alien's chest. "No, I fight with fear, but I do not let it own me." Around Tokyo, the words spread on every screen, translated into dozens of languages. Children repeated them to their parents. Soldiers in bunkers whispered them to each other. Fear was no longer the end. It was fuel. Above Earth, inside the alien command vessels, the leaders watched in disbelief. "They do not surrender," one hissed. "Even they're weak, they're old, they're small stand against us." Another slammed a clawed hand against the console. "No other species has done this." All others knelt. These humans. There was silence. Then a single word, whispered in their alien tongue, a word rarely spoken among their kind. "Dangerous." In New York, the Marine still faced his alien opponent, blood running down his side. But he felt the world behind him now. On the giant screens around Times Square, the fights in London and Tokyo played in real time. He saw the boxer land another punch, saw the master deflect another strike. He grinned through the pain. "Looks like I'm not alone." The alien warrior across from him tilted its head. For the first time since arriving on Earth, its stance wavered. In London, the boxer shouted through swollen lips, "We're not afraid of you." In Tokyo, the kendo master stood tall, voice carrying over the rain. "You came to test us. You will leave knowing who we are." And across the world, billions felt it, the shift. Humanity was not crumbling. Humanity was rising. The aliens had come expecting fear, but what they found was something far more dangerous. Something they had no word for. Something that, deep inside, made their hands tremble. Defiance. Times Square shook with every strike. The Marine's lungs burned, his ribs screamed with every breath, but his legs refused to buckle. The alien loomed before him, speed glowing, armor gleaming under the floodlights of news helicopters. Around them, soldiers and civilians stood frozen, the fate of the world balanced on the clash of two figures. The alien drove its spear forward again. The Marine twisted aside, the weapon grazing his shoulder and tearing flesh. Pain exploded, but he ignored it. He countered with his fists, hammering against armor, every blow echoing through the square. His hands bled, his knuckles raw, but he kept striking. "You cannot win," the alien growled, voice trembling with frustration. "You fight with broken weapons and weaker bodies." The Marine's vision blurred, but he forced a grin. "Doesn't matter. I'm still here." With a roar, the alien swung wide. The spear cracked against the Marine's side, sending him sprawling. The world gasped. Reporters screamed into microphones. On television screens across the globe, commentators declared it over. But then, he moved. The Marine dragged himself up, coughing blood, his knees shaking. He rose 1 inch at a time, shoulders squared, eyes locked on the alien. Above the square, the alien fleet stirred uneasily. Their commanders whispered to one another. He should have fallen. Why does he rise again? The Marine spat blood onto the concrete and charged. The alien thrust the spear to end it. But this time, the Marine caught the shaft with both hands. His muscles screamed. His bones felt ready to snap, but he held. The weapon vibrated with energy, sparks flying where human flesh touched alien steel. With a yell that tore through the silence, he wrenched the spear aside and drove his elbow forward with every ounce of strength left in him. The strike landed square on the alien's chest. A sharp crack split the night. The alien staggered backward, green liquid spilling from a dent in its armor. Gasps erupted from the crowd, from the broadcasters, from billions watching around the world. The alien looked down at the glowing fluid dripping onto the ground. Its voice shook for the first time. "You wounded me." The Marine swayed, barely able to stay upright. His vision swam, but he forced the words out. "Bleed, just like us." The square exploded in sound. Cheers roared from every direction, drowning out the hum of the alien ship above. Soldiers pounded their weapons against the barricades. Civilians screamed until their throats burned. Humanity had just seen the impossible, an alien hurt by one of their own. Across the world, hope ignited. In London, the boxer saw the broadcast flicker across a massive screen. The Marine, broken but still standing. The alien bleeding. She felt her chest swell, her fists clenching tighter. She unleashed a barrage of punches, striking her alien opponent with renewed fury. "You're not untouchable," she shouted, her voice raw. The alien faltered, its blade wavering for a heartbeat. In Tokyo, the kendo master heard the cheer spread like wildfire through the city. His wooden sword cracked against alien armor once more. And this time, the alien stumbled back 2 steps. His students watching from the crowd erupted in shouts. The master's eyes blazed with calm triumph. "Even the strong can't fall," he said, voice carrying through the rain. High above Earth, inside the alien command ships, panic rippled through the council. "They are not breaking," one hissed. "They have done the unthinkable," another growled. "They should fear us. They should kneel." But the screens before them showed the opposite. Humans bleeding, broken, and still fighting. Their chants shook cities, their defiance rising louder with every heartbeat. The alien commanders felt something unfamiliar slither through their thoughts. A cold, creeping realization. "Perhaps," one whispered, "it is we who should fear them." Back in New York, the Marine staggered, his body a map of pain. But he raised his fists again, daring the alien to come. The alien's glowing eyes narrowed. Its voice, once booming and confident, now held a trace of unease. "You are reckless. You sacrifice yourself for nothing." The Marine coughed, blood on his teeth, but his smile widened. "Not nothing. For everyone." The alien's grip on its spear trembled. Around it, the crowd chanted louder and louder, the sound of millions joining through live broadcasts. "Stand! Stand! Stand!" The Marine roared and charged again. His fists hammered against the alien's dented chest. Every strike smeared more green fluid across his knuckles. The alien staggered, retreating step by step. Its confidence cracked, its movements slower. For the first time since landing, the alien was losing ground. In the command ships above, one of the alien leaders spoke in a low, broken voice. "This test is no longer safe. They are not like the others. They do not submit." Another snapped back, but its tone carried doubt. "They are only flesh. Yet they rise again, again and again." The council fell into silence. In that silence, they all felt it, the pulse of something their kind had never known in war. Fear. On Earth, the Marine collapsed to one knee, blood dripping from his chin. The alien raised its spear to finish him. But when its eyes met his, it froze. In the Marine's gaze there was no surrender, no weakness, only fire. And in that fire, the alien saw its own reflection, shaking hands, trembling stance, the first taste of fear. The Marine whispered hoarsely, but the words carried across the square, carried through every broadcast, carried into the alien fleet above. You wanted to test, then learn. Humans don't bow. The alien did not strike. It stepped back, and the world erupted in thunder. The night sky above Earth burned with alien shadows, but below, the human spirit caught fire. In New York, the Marine sagged on one knee, his uniform torn, his body bruised and broken. Yet the alien warrior across from him did not finish the fight. Its spear lowered, its eyes flickering uncertainly. That single step back, seen by billions, changed everything. In homes and bunkers, in crowded streets and quiet villages, people shouted at their screens. They saw not weakness but victory. Humanity had stood against monsters from the stars and made them bleed. In London, the boxer's fist was swollen, her knuckles raw, but she hammered on. The alien she faced was bigger, stronger, armed with a blade that could cut steel. Yet when the crowd roared, "Stand! Stand! Stand!" she felt strength flow back into her body. Every punch echoed the Marine's defiance. Every blow told the aliens, "We are not afraid." In Tokyo, rain poured down as the kendo master raised his wooden sword again. He was old, his breath heavy, but his spirit burned. When news reached the crowd that New York's alien had stepped back, a wave of cheers rippled through Shinjuku. The master smiled faintly and whispered, "The tide turns." His students, who once tried to hold him back, now shouted his name, their voices filling the night. The news spread like wildfire. Across Europe, people poured into the streets, waving flags, holding signs that read, "We will not kneel." In South America, entire neighborhoods gathered around radios, cheering each time a human strike landed on alien armor. In Africa, families crowded into community centers, watching flickering televisions powered by generators, their cheers shaking the walls. In villages in India, farmers laid down their tools to listen, and when they heard that humans had drawn alien blood, they rang bells in celebration. In the Middle East, war-torn cities lit up with fireworks, enemies putting aside grudges to watch the same broadcasts. For the first time in history, the world was united, not by politics, not by treaties, but by survival. And above it all, the alien fleet began to shift. Inside the command vessel, alien leaders argued. "They resist more fiercely than any species we have faced," one said, voice taut with unease. "They should fear us, yet their fear drives them forward," another whispered. A third slammed its clawed hand against the table. "This is not victory for them. It is only delay. We will break them." But even as they spoke, their glowing eyes darted nervously to the screens. They saw soldiers and civilians alike volunteering for combat. They saw children painting crude images of humans standing tall against towering aliens. They saw an entire species rising as one. "They do not fracture," one commander admitted reluctantly. "They unite." And in their language, one word rippled across the room, carried like a curse: dangerous. On Earth, governments scrambled to harness the wave of courage. The U.S. president appeared on a live broadcast, his face grave but steady. "The world has seen today what we are capable of. These invaders believe fear will break us. Instead, fear has bound us together. We will not surrender. We will fight. We will endure. Humanity stands as one." In London, Parliament opened its doors to refugees and volunteers alike. In Tokyo, the Prime Minister declared a state of unity, calling all citizens to prepare. Across the United Nations, delegates stood and applauded for the first unanimous resolution in history: humanity will resist. But resistance was not just words, it was action. In factories, workers repurposed machines to produce weapons and armor. In universities, scientists worked around the clock to study fragments of alien technology, desperately searching for weaknesses. In military bases, soldiers trained side by side with civilians. Even gangs and rival groups laid down old feuds to face the greater enemy. And in hospitals, doctors patched up the wounded, whispering encouragement to those who had fought. "You showed them," one nurse told a soldier, her eyes bright. "You showed them we're not prey." In New York, the Marine was carried by fellow soldiers to a medical station, his body battered nearly beyond repair. Cameras followed, and though his voice was weak, he forced words past swollen lips. Don't stop. Don't let them think they've won. The footage played worldwide. His face, blooded but unbroken, became a symbol. Posters spread overnight, his silhouette standing tall against a towering alien. Children in refugee camps shouted his name. Songs were written about him before dawn. In London, the boxer lifted her fists once more, teeth clenched against the pain. You bleed like we do, she told her alien opponent. And we'll make you bleed again. The crowd roared, her words repeating in headlines across the globe. In Tokyo, the kendo master bowed low, his sword raised to the sky. This spirit is not mine alone, he said. It belongs to every human. His image was shared millions of times before morning. The aliens had come expecting submission. Instead, they had given humanity something it had lacked for centuries: unity. Across the stars, other species once conquered by the invaders watched secretly, their signals intercepted by the alien fleet. They saw humans rising. They saw something no one had dared before: open defiance. And whispers spread across distant worlds. The humans fight. The humans bleed. The humans rise. Above Earth, the alien fleet shifted again. Some ships moved farther back, as though the warriors inside felt the weight of unseen eyes upon them. Others pulsed with strange signals, transmissions filled with hesitation. One alien commander spoke, its voice low, almost a whisper. We came to test them. But what if the test is ours? On Earth, the answer was already clear. In New York, in London, in Tokyo, and in every corner of the globe, humanity rose together, shouting into the night with one voice, one promise, one truth. We are not prey. We are human. The alien fleet hung over Earth like a dark crown, yet for the first time, the hunters felt the weight of silence. Inside the command vessel, alien generals gathered. Their eyes, glowing like shards of ice, flicked nervously across the room. Screens showed images of humans rising together, the Marine's blooded face refusing defeat, the London boxer striking again and again, the kendo master bowing with calm dignity. None of these should have mattered. And yet they did. They are not like the others, one general said quietly. They are primitive, another snapped, though its claws trembled. But they do not break. They unite, whispered the eldest, its voice rasping. This is not fear as we know it. This is something else. For thousands of years, the aliens had conquered species after species. Each world had bent beneath their cruelty. Fear was their weapon, fear their chain. But the humans did not crumble. Their fear sharpened into steel. On Earth, the world was still reeling. Skies thundered with alien ships, but in the streets, people gathered not in terror but in defiance. Banners stretched across cities. We do not bow. In New York, the Marine struggled to sit upright in his hospital bed. Doctors begged him to rest, but when cameras entered, he forced his voice steady. Listen to me, he said, his body shaking. They thought fear would break us. But fear belongs to them now. Let them see we're ready. His words spread like fire. In London, the boxer stood before the crowd, her hands wrapped in fresh bandages. They came here to test us. They thought we would fall. But every punch I throw is not just mine. It's yours. It's every human's. Cheers thundered, echoing through the city. In Tokyo, the kendo master gathered his students in the rain. He raised his wooden blade high. They believe victory is theirs. But victory is already ours. We have shown them what it means to face humanity. His students shouted in unison, their voices carrying through the storm. The aliens watched all of it. For the first time in their history, they hesitated. On hidden channels, young alien warriors whispered uneasily. They bleed and still fight. They fear death, yet walk toward it. How do we kill what does not break? Others spoke words never uttered before. What if they are stronger than us? In a dark chamber aboard the alien flagship, the High Commander sat in silence. His body was wrapped in armor etched with the symbols of 1,000 conquests. Behind him, trophies from fallen worlds gleamed. Each one represented a species that had collapsed into submission. But now, reports filled the chamber. Human crowds singing in unison, soldiers refusing to retreat, governments standing together. This had never happened before. Not once. "They are dangerous," murmured the High Commander. "Not for their weapons, not for their strength, but for this unity. They do not scatter, they rise." Another commander dared to ask, "Shall we withdraw?" The High Commander's eyes blazed. Withdraw? Against primitives? Yet even as he spoke, his claws clenched tighter. Far below, on Earth, something extraordinary was happening. In refugee camps, strangers became family overnight. Farmers shared food with soldiers. Engineers worked side by side with mechanics. Children handed out water to tired fighters. Rival gangs patrolled streets together, keeping civilians safe. Everywhere, people repeated the same phrase: "Fear is theirs now." In Africa, singers composed songs that spread through radios and phones, their voices rising in defiance. In Europe, scientists cracked open alien tech and began to map its weaknesses. In South America, pilots trained in captured alien crafts, learning their patterns. In Asia, monks prayed while students coded new strategies to blind alien senses. It was not just armies that rose, it was everyone. Humanity itself had become the battlefield, and the aliens began to feel it. At first, they dismissed the whispers, but soon, even their hardened warriors hesitated before stepping into the dueling arenas. They remembered human eyes glaring up at them, eyes filled not with submission but with something far more dangerous: resolve. On one ship, an alien soldier stared at his reflection. He remembered the Marine's defiant stare even as blood poured down his face. For the first time in his life, the soldier trembled. He tried to convince himself it was anger, but deep down, he knew it was fear. In the hidden corners of the galaxy, other species watched too. The aliens' broadcasts, meant to humiliate humans, had been intercepted. Across distant stars, beings once enslaved by the invaders now whispered, "The humans resist. The humans do not bow." And for the first time, hope spread across worlds that had long been silent. Back on Earth, the Marines' message played again and again. Fear belongs to them now. In New York, crowds painted murals of humans standing against towering aliens. In London, chants filled the streets. In Tokyo, people lit lanterns, sending them floating into the night sky, each carrying a message: "We are not prey." The aliens, who once believed they were gods, now watched as fear crept into their bones. The High Commander gathered his council once more. His voice was low, sharp as a blade. "We sought to test them. Instead, they test us. Their unity is a weapon we cannot crush. If we push harder, they will only grow stronger." His words chilled the chamber. Never before had their leaders admitted weakness. "They should fear us," another said desperately. But instead, the High Commander finished the sentence himself, his claws tightening. "We fear them." And so it was. The hunters who had ruled the galaxy with terror had finally tasted its edge. For the first time in history, humanity had turned fear against its masters. The alien fleet still hovered over Earth, dark ships blotting out the stars. Yet for the first time since their arrival, they did not move forward. They hesitated. In the command vessel, silence weighed heavier than armor. The High Commander stared at the screen showing Earth's cities, where billions of humans stood defiant. His warriors shifted uneasily around him. Fear, their oldest weapon, no longer belonged to them. They spread like fire, one whispered. "Every hour, they grow stronger. They unite," another said bitterly. "They are not like the others. They cannot be broken." "They should fear us," the High Commander growled. But deep inside, even he knew the truth. It is we who fear them. On Earth, the world reached its boiling point. In New York, the Marine, still bruised, his ribs cracked, stood on shaky legs before a sea of cameras. His voice carried to every corner of the planet. "They came to test us," he said. "They thought fear would chain us. Instead, fear forged us together. Let the stars hear this. Humanity will never kneel." The words thundered across radios, TVs, and glowing phones. Crowds cheered, chanting his name. Soldiers saluted. Children painted his face on walls beside the words, "Never kneel." In London, the boxer stood before thousands in Trafalgar Square, her fists still wrapped. "They bleed," she shouted. "They feel pain. And now, they feel fear. We will not stop until every last one of us shows them who we are." The cheese shook the city, echoing louder than any alien roar. In Tokyo, the kendo master bowed beneath the lantern-lit sky. His students raised their blades high, voices carrying through the rain. "We are not prey." Millions repeated it, a chorus that rolled across the planet like thunder. And far beyond Earth, the galaxy listened. For centuries, the aliens had ruled through terror. World after world had fallen silent, their people enslaved. But now, intercepted broadcasts spread through secret channels, reaching those forgotten civilizations. On a distant planet of ash, enslaved beings watched shaky human footage smuggled across the stars. They saw the Marines' defiance, the boxer's fists, the master's bow. They whispered to one another, "If humans can rise, so can we." On another world, deep in chains, prisoners sang the words they heard in human voices, "We are not prey." And so the unthinkable began. Sparks of rebellion flared across alien-controlled worlds. Back in the alien flagship, panic spread through the council. This was supposed to be a demonstration, one general hissed, a warning to keep others obedient. But now the galaxy sees the opposite, another said, trembling. They see humans stand. They see hope. "If we crush them, it may already be too late," muttered a third. The idea has spread. The High Commander slammed his claws against the table, the sound echoing like thunder. His armor glowed, but the light no longer inspired confidence. "We are the masters of fear," he declared. Yet his words rang hollow. His warriors shifted, their eyes darting, each one sensing the truth. They had unleashed something they could not contain. On Earth, scientists finally cracked fragments of alien tech. Engineers reported weaknesses in their shielding. Pilots trained in stolen crafts. Civilians filled makeshift barracks, eager to fight. The world was no longer hiding. It was preparing. And the message was clear. If the aliens wanted war, humanity would give them war. At last, the High Commander faced his decision. If he ordered destruction, the humans might fall, but their spirit would ignite the galaxy in rebellion. If he withdrew, his people would lose face, but perhaps the Empire could survive. He closed his eyes, and for the first time in his long life, he admitted the truth to himself. "We came to teach Faye. Instead, we learned it." His voice, heavy with shame, filled the chamber. "Withdraw the fleet." The word struck like lightning. Some generals protested, their voices shrill with disbelief. But others bowed their heads, knowing there was no other choice. Slowly, the order rippled through the fleet. Engines hummed, dark ships shifting away from Earth's skies. Humanity watched in awe as the invaders retreated, shrinking into the stars. When the last ship vanished, the world erupted. In New York, church bells rang. In London, fireworks painted the night. In Tokyo, lanterns floated into the sky by the thousands. Across deserts, mountains, and oceans, people shouted with joy, tears streaming down their faces. For the first time in history, humanity had stood together and won. But beneath the celebration, a deeper understanding grew. The aliens had not left because they were defeated by weapons. They had left because they were defeated by something far stronger. Unity, defiance, humanity itself. And the galaxy would never be the same. On distant worlds, enslaved peoples rose in rebellion. Secret messages spread. The humans stood. The humans resisted. The humans won. The empire that had ruled for centuries began to crack. Fear no longer chained the galaxy. It hunted the very ones who had once wielded it. On Earth, the Marine sat quietly in his hospital bed, staring out at the stars. The boxer walked the streets of London, still rapping her fists. The kendo master trained his students beneath a calm dawn sky. None of them saw themselves as heroes. They were simply human. But their actions had changed everything. Above them, In the endless dark, countless eyes now watched Earth, not with scorn, not with pity, but with something far rarer, respect. And for the first time, the galaxy whispered in awe. The day we challenged humans, we discovered Faye.